Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly astrology update and oracle card reading with me, Rachel Lynn. And so Saturday we had Mercury go retrograde, and for these astrological updates I use Sidereal astrology. So this is a different type of astrology from your tropical astrology. I would say that you can use this in addition to it. So just keep that in mind when I'm talking about the signs, and you might be like, well, that's not the sign I thought it was in. Well, this is the sign that it is if you look in the sky. So when I say Mercury is going retrograde in Libra, if you locate Mercury with your telescope, you will see the stars of Libra behind Mercury. This is a different type of astrology than the tropical astrology, which is based on the seasons. And no need to get into debate about which is the correct version or the right version. It's all about what resonates with you. And for me, I like to just look at what I can see, and that's where the light of the stars I get intelligence from that. So for me, using Sidereal astrology, Mercury will be going retrograde in the signs of Libra and dipping back into Virgo even a little bit. So this is a lot of reflection on our relationships and on the balance, keeping things in balance in our lives, all parts of our lives in balance. And it's going to dip back into a little bit of this self-refinement, because we sort of have to kind of refine ourselves to enter into a relationship with others. And it's kind of about what are we embodying, what are we bringing to the table. And so there's some reflection on that, definitely going to be taking place from the 4th through the 26th while Mercury's retrograde. And we also have a Grand Water Trine taking place. Now again, this is different from the tropical, which is a fire trine, which is coordinated with the seasons. So you might feel on the more earthly, physical level this fire trine, but in the more the holistic level, because of where the planets actually are, all the planets are actually of this trine are in water signs. So you have Mars in Scorpio, you have Jupiter in Cancer, and you have Uranus in Pisces. So all three of these coming into trine is like, it basically, each one unlocks the energies of the other. So by doing one, it supports the others automatically. So either by tapping into your drive and your courage, you're unlocking more of your freedom and your expansion. By tapping more into your sense of freedom, you naturally have more drive and you naturally have more courage, or you naturally have more expansion. By tapping into your inner wisdom and your expansion, you naturally feel more drive and you feel more free. So all of these mutually support each other. But with all of them in water, this is a very felt process. And it kind of, to me, I kind of look at Mars as what's kind of like this activating point of the energy, where a trine is normally, it's support, and it's kind of passive. It's just a very supportive thing. But Mars is really making it very felt. It's a very active sort of process that we're engaging in. And it's all supportive, but we're actively working with this energy. And since it is all water, it's very emotional. We feel it all. And that's kind of where we're at right now, is we're feeling it all. And with all this Piscean energy, it's like, wow, can I really feel all this as a human being? Is this okay? Especially, I notice a lot of women, and not to single anyone out because I know men are experiencing the same thing, I guess more just people with more feminine energy. It's just kind of this, like, wow, like, being amazed and just in awe, and just such a sense of gratitude for what we're able to bear, like, witness to. Like, think about what that means. Bear witness. Like, we can bear it on our chest and see it, witness it. Not just witness it from afar, like, I see what's going on over there. That's cool. Like, okay, yeah, I'll have compassion for you. No, it's like bringing it right here, feeling it, bearing witness to it. That's what this is about. And another big element of this water trine is Jupiter has been in Cancer and will be sidereally until July of next year. And so Jupiter has been bringing us all this wisdom and all this abundance and good luck in the realm of connecting into our soul and to our sense of home. So a lot of us might be relocating at this time, or really starting to come into like what kind of places in nature we most resonate with being, where we can work from a place of security. It's creating a temple, because Cancer is like our inner temple, and it's Jupiter is bringing that, we're expanding into that in our lives and bringing that more into our lives so that we can facilitate more of that connection and come from that space more and more in our day-to-day life. And with Uranus and Pisces in the trine, we realize that our higher self already is a vessel that is completely receptive to source, a complete emptied out vessel, a void space to let source work through, because that's what our higher self is. It's not trying to do anything that is turning away from source in any way or shutting off that valve. It keeps all the channels open while still being a unique expression and embodying its full beauty. And so with that in Pisces it's about surrender, and it's about going with the flow. So there's a lot of very intense kind of stuff in the trine, but it's not intense because it is a trine. So with Mars, one thing that I really got guidance on was trusting in our instincts, trusting our gut instincts, because Scorpio has to do with our gut level instincts, the lower self. And a lot of times when we're so focused on our spirituality, looking up and up and up, that's not what the water element's about. The water element's going into the depths. We are plunging into the depths right now. We're not just eyes to the sky. We're like, okay, what is really the truth coming from the depths of my being? And that's the truth that comes from your individuality, because at the moment you start to get detached from what your gut impulses are saying, you start to kind of get absorbed into this collective going along with what other people are telling you and what's coming from outside, and you start maybe going towards the false light. You see a light and you're perceiving it, and you're like, wow, that's light, and wow, there's synchronicity, and wow, there's angels, and this and that, but you're outside of yourself, even though you might not see it that way because you philosophically know that the light is within you. But in tuning out and ignoring your gut, your intuitions, saying, maybe this isn't right, and then going, oh no, that's just my lower self, that needs to change, I'll just keep focusing higher and just hope it goes away. Like, no, that's not what Mars and Scorpio is about right now. That's not what this water trine's about. It's like, no, you feel those things deep in your being for a reason, and that's what we're sinking into, is this life where we're in the flow of our emotions and deep in our being, just with our whole self. We know that what we're living is what's true for us, and it's very watery, very emotional. So even as a channel right now, I'm like, wow, I really feel this. 70% of our body is water, so you feel the water through your body. It's a whole body experience. It's not just a head experience, like, oh, I don't know, you know what I mean. So then we have the lunar eclipse taking place on the 8th, and the day before the lunar eclipse we'll actually have the Sun in Virgo opposite Uranus and Pisces. So there's a little bit of a reconciliation going on with our conscious, sort of analytical mind taking care of the day-to-day tasks in life and doing our work, and Virgo is focused on the practical elements of life, with the Uranus, which is our higher self, that's already completely receptive to source and just doing the work of source and giving of itself completely freely, being a vessel to pour forth source in this very Piscean way, in this total surrender. So we got to reconcile those aspects, because anytime there's an opposition, it'll kind of call into our awareness where one thing is kind of opposing another, and to reconcile them means to find where we merge them back together as one. And so bring more of that surrender to our conscious analytical mind and our day-to-day tasks. Bring more of that surrender. When we notice ourselves trying to control the details too much, remember that if we just kind of step back and surrender a little bit, it will allow God, it will allow source to work through more, and we will actually be able to be more effective in our practical life, which at first the mind will just kind of be like, well, I don't understand. Well, it won't understand. But you'll see it through your awareness when it happens. You'll see that support coming through. We just have to allow it. So there's that reconciliation. And then the lunar eclipse in Pisces now. Okay, so the eclipse is the culmination point of energy that has been going on since April, the last eclipses with the Grand Cross. So there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on since then. And my partner was explaining to me how the eclipses are kind of like a recalibration, where it's a time where it kind of recalibrates us back onto our path, which is a really beautiful thing. And we're totally supported by this water trine, and the eclipse is taking place in Pisces, which is a water sign. So we're totally supported in this, and we're going to feel it. I just keep getting the guidance that what we're guided to do right now is that we just feel it all. Just feel it all. And the more you just allow yourself to feel it all, the more you will be aligned fully with your path, and you'll just have such a deep knowing through the emotions that you are connected to all of you in the soul way. So another thing that came to me was with Uranus as a part of this trine that's activating during all this. Uranus and Pisces. So Uranus is still going to be in Pisces, so the lunar eclipse kind of bleeds in with the Uranus energies. Uranus is like this lightning bolt. It's like a flash of insight. And when Uranus is in Pisces, it's sort of like a flash in the sea. So imagine a lightning bolt touching down into the ocean. And water carries lightning. So if you imagine as we all are one, essentially. So all life is one. You know, my body doesn't end at my skin. I'm breathing oxygen and I'm exhaling carbon dioxide, which trees are then taking in my carbon dioxide and then breathing it back out as oxygen, and every single thing is interconnected and interdependent. So that's Pisces. It's the whole universal body being one thing. And when Uranus flashes the lightning, we can kind of see how we'll see the lightning kind of sprawling out, and we'll see more and more of how we are connected to everything else, and how literally what we do to another affects us immediately. It affects that energy, because when the lightning bolt strikes, you get that flash where it not spirals, just kind of goes out into everything. And you see it, so you see how you're connected. You also have this flash, these moments where you realize how connected you are, and just really feel those moments fully is just really the guidance that I'm getting. And so allow this eclipse to really be a culmination of that for you, of this total surrender to feeling all of life, all of your experience right now. And that will also start a new beginning for us. And we'll have a solar eclipse later this month also, which is also a huge new beginning. So we'll get more into that later. Now, so that's the astrological update. And let's go ahead and get into the cards. And I've had to record this video a couple times because, well, Mercury retrograde problems. Which has actually helped me a lot to learn and reflect, and that's why there's no need to stress out whenever things are going wrong, when you have retrograde, because it's all just to kind of help you learn something, and there's always a lot to learn when there are technical glitches. Sometimes it means we needed to reflect on something a little bit more that maybe we didn't take the time to do, and kind of recenter ourselves, and it's really helpful. All right, so I guess these cards wanted to be shuffled quite a bit, so let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, this is so funny because this is the card that I really wanted to get today, and now it finally showed up. So, the Diamond Mandala. This card is all about embodying our diamond light from within, and this is such a beautiful card for the Pisces lunar eclipse. This is towards the beginning of the week. Sort of what's going to kick us off here is gaining this awareness of this inner diamond core that really is source, the source point deep within us, but shining through this unique prism, that very first uniqueness that starts. That's the diamond core that we have deep, within us. And in the reverse position, it speaks about remembering that in embodying this core, it has nothing to do with like outshining others. It's all about just shining for the sake of that unique prism that is you, to just fully shine as much light through it as you can, because your prism is unlike anyone else's. Anyone. And just for that alone is so amazing and such a miracle, and it doesn't need to be better or superior or brighter than anyone else's. You know, there's no comparison, because it's so, everybody's is so completely unique. And that's what makes it such a miracle, and that's what makes this, you know, this whole experience created by Source so perfect. Because if there were, let's say, two identical prisms, then one prism would be like, well, I've shown more light through my prism than yours. And we could only ever even make that judgment if we were all the same. If someone else was exactly like us, well, then we would know. But they're not, so we can't ever make those judgments or ever draw those comparisons. And so that's what the first card's really about, is just simply shining our light for the sake of shining our light. And there's no comparison in it. Alright, so the second card is the Freedom of Love. And it's, wow, this is perfect for the lunar eclipse in Pisces, because this is the card about unconditional love and feeling it all. And when you let the love in, when you just simply let it in, it will soar. You will just start to soar above all obstacles. I mean, it might feel like sometimes when we feel everything, we start to feel, we like literally viscerally feel like, not even just the collective, but things that are happening on our day-to-day experience. We just sort of, we feel things so deeply. Like even the littlest things that happen, we're like, wow, I'm getting really emotional over something so tiny. I wonder why. Well, it's just because the more we feel, the more, it's like the ocean. Pisces always is associated with the ocean. It's like the deeper you swim underwater, the more pressure there is. But that's kind of what this card speaks of, is like at the top, you can kind of see how it becomes this pressure in the heart, but the relief is Source, you know, it's the unconditional love is the release, and it creates like these wings, and you're able to actually soar above, but while still feeling it all at the same time. So you can feel it all, but be like soaring and be vibrating high, basically, while doing it. And it's just an amazing sense of freedom. In feeling everything, you're totally free. And that's why it's called the Freedom of Love. So what a great card for this lunar eclipse. Very powerful, I think. And the last card is the Faces of Angkor. And this also corresponds a lot with the Jupiter in Cancer, actually, because this card is about seeking out and learning, starting a new pursuit of wisdom. Ancient wisdom specifically. And so Cancer has a lot to do with our roots, ancestors, heritage, spirit guides, even animal totems a little bit. Anything that's very ancient and ancestral. It's about exploring more into this ancient wisdom, because even on this planet, you know, we always kind of take for granted, like, or not take for granted, we overestimate sort of our knowledge at this time on this planet. And we sometimes we think we're so wise and we know so much, and wow, we're all awakening to so much wisdom. But, you know, in Hinduism, there's the idea that there are these ages, or these yugas, so that there used to be this golden age on the planet about 30,000 years ago. And recently we've just came out of the Kali Yuga, which is the dark age, which is the opposite of the golden age, and we're coming out now into the Bronze Age. So there's Iron Age, Bronze Age, Silver Age, and Golden Age. And so apparently we're just now coming back into the ascending Bronze Age. But we've had a Golden Age before, and there's wisdom, you know, left everywhere. You know, these ancient cultures, they lived in a state of unity, so they saw us from the past. They were aware of the future, and they were aware of these cycles, and so they were aware of leaving information behind, essentially, that we'd be able to see and realize it. But we have to actively choose to see that information, instead of kind of feeling like we have it all already. It's like yeah, we have it all within, but also sometimes within we're guided to look to and open ourselves up to the wisdom of our ancestors. And this card also speaks a lot of visiting places that link us up with that ancient wisdom, whether it's just ancestry in our family, physical family, or places that link us into our soul family, and more of our soul level. It's really up to you. So, you know, it might be that it's a good week to travel to a sacred place for you, and really where you can embody that light and surrender and connect and open up to whatever wisdom wants to flow through that location. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that reading, and I will be doing one again next week with the astrology update. Let me know what you thought of that, guys, and if you have any comments or constructive criticism, I would really love to hear it. And I guess I'll see you next week. Have an awesome lunar eclipse, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.